Hello, my name is Caleb Bilta. I'm the athletic director at Triad School. Today I'm going to be giving a brief overview of a proposal that I've designed to renovate our weight room. As of right now, our weight room is 32 feet by 23 feet. About a third of the room is covered in mats, which only allow us to use about a third of the space to actually lift, since we don't want to mark up the floor while we're lifting. We have 3 working barbells, 1 broken barbell, and a light barbell that can be used that's only 15 pounds. We have enough clamps to use all of that equipment and a few belts. We have 1 30-pound dumbbell, 2 20-pound dumbbells, and 1 5-pound dumbbell. Then we have kettlebells in the weights of 10, 15, 20, and 25 pounds, 1 at each of those weights. We have a bench that can hold a barbell. We have a preacher curl station, and then a couple of extra benches that don't hold barbells. We have 1 squat rack that's a little bit older, 1 rack that we use for overhead press and pull-ups. We don't actually squat in there because it's actually not steady enough to hold heavy weights. And then we have 1 incline station, which is pretty old and a little bit rusted. For our barbell weights, we have enough of the 35-pound and enough of the 45-pound weights, but unfortunately we don't have enough 25-pound weights, we don't have enough 10-pound weights, and we don't have enough 2.5-pound weights for kids to use them at every station. Probably the biggest issue we have right now is that actually a lot of our weights are heavily rusted, so they're really not as useful because they're kind of deteriorating at the moment. And so part of this proposal is that we're going to toss some of those rusted weights out and purchase some newer equipment that we could use. As of right now, we only have the equipment to allow a few kids to lift at the same time, which means that our sports teams aren't really able to make use of the weight room. So what ends up happening is a lot of our kids actually purchase a membership to a local gym and go lift there instead. It also impacts our PE classes because, for the same reasoning, they can't allow multiple kids to lift at the same time, so we can't really do weightlifting units during PE class because there's too many kids and not enough equipment. And lastly, another issue with our weight room is the fact that it just simply doesn't work right now to draw in new families. So we'll often allow new families to take a tour of the building, but we never show them the weight room because it's not really worth showing. It's not an attractive feature for our school. I had an interview with a board member, and we kind of spoke about the state of our weight room, and he even admitted to me that he'd spoken with a family who understood that Triad had strong academics, but actually decided to attend another school because that other school had better athletic facilities. If we were to build up our weight room, we could make a much stronger case in that area. Benefits to renovating our weight room include having a weight room that's actually usable by our sports teams, and lifting has been demonstrated to increase speed, vertical jump, strength, and it's also useful for injury prevention. The weight room would also allow us to use it during PE classes, and weightlifting again has been proven to be useful for aging healthy, whether it's cognitive benefits or increased muscle mass as we get older. So if we have our PE classes include weightlifting, we can actually help those students establish healthy habits that'll be good for them later on in life. It's also important that we discuss exactly what equipment I'm hoping we purchase to renovate the weight room and how much that equipment would cost. So as of right now, I've secured 2 donations for adjustable dumbbell sets that we could use. I'd also plan on securing 2 more racks that we could squat or bench in, because having 3 racks as opposed to 1 would allow us to get a lot more kids lifting at the same time. I'd want to purchase a few more plates and another barbell so that we can throw out some of the rusted equipment. And lastly, I'd like to purchase some more mats so that we can cover at least 2/3 of the weight room in weight mats. The whole thing doesn't need to be covered, but a little bit more space would allow us the ability to deadlift in different spots so that we didn't have to concentrate all the equipment in one tiny spot. After shopping around for a little while, I was able to find all of this equipment, and if we were to purchase it, it would cost us $1,433. It wouldn't be my expectation that this amount would be added to our budget. Instead, I believe that the sports program should fundraise this amount to cover the costs. I'm the head track coach as well as the athletic director at our school, and this season we operated $658 under budget, so I would propose that we apply this surplus to this proposal. So that would leave us with $755 cost to be split between our 5 sports programs. Our boys basketball program has expressed interest in hosting a summer basketball camp, and if we were to charge for attendance to that camp, we could make up some of that money. The volleyball program could take over our powder buff and powder puff games that we typically play during the school year. So every year we typically take about a week of school and maybe allow for one class period a day where the students get a practice for those games. Instead of playing those games at school, what we could do is actually have the games on a weekend, and we could charge admittance for our parents to attend that. I also spoke with one of our volleyball parents, and she was willing to donate supplies and her time to cook a spaghetti dinner, so we could charge to have dinner after both of those games are played and earn a little bit of extra money that way. An anonymous football donor has stepped up to be willing to cover the football portion of the fundraising with a simple donation in exchange for having the football players be responsible for tossing out some of the old equipment and setting up the new equipment. Our girls basketball program could be in charge of hosting the alumni versus alumni basketball game, which has been heavily requested these last few years. We would charge a $10 entry fee for any of our participants and charge gate for the spectators. And lastly, our track program could host a home meet during the spring. A typical entry fee for a team for a track meet is about $50, so if we were to bring in about 8 teams, we could pretty easily cover our costs for hosting the meet while also securing enough funding to cover the weight room costs as well. The written proposal goes a bit more in depth, explaining exactly how each of these fundraisers would help cover the cost for this proposal. And once again, I believe that this proposal would benefit our athletic teams, it would benefit our students, and it would make our school in general look a little bit more appealing to new families. Through fundraising activities, I believe that we could fairly easily cover all the costs for this program so long as each one of our sports programs chips in to help. And overall, I would expect that this proposal could be completed by the spring of 2020. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and I hope that you're willing to give this proposal consideration.